Hey, what's happening? Chris Martinez here. I am the host of Operation Agency Freedom. We're going to talk about some deep stuff today. We're going to be talking about how you make your money is more important than how much money you make, right? A little bit controversial for the digital marketing industry, partly because there's so many scammers in this business. There's so many idiots and people with no morals who have gotten into digital marketing, and they don't really care how they make the money. They care about how much. All they care about is the dollar signs and the zeros and the commas that they're putting in the bank account. I'm not down with that, man. Enough is enough. We got to stop this as a collective group of good people. We need to stop this. So today I'm going to be talking about how you make your money and why I believe it's way more important how you make the money than how much money you actually make. So if this resonates with you, if you're tired of the scammers, if you're tired of how these people with no morals have completely destroyed our industry and you're ready to do something about it, we'll dive into today's podcast because I'm going to be talking about that for the next 20 minutes or so. I don't know how long the episode's going to be. I'm just going to talk. All right, so let's head over to the episode. All right, everybody. So welcome to the show. Every once in a while, I like to talk about something that's somewhat related to digital marketing, but kind of more so along the lines of ethics and morals and lifestyle and things like that. And honestly, it seems like you guys enjoy that more than me talking about how to hire your next project manager. So I've been thinking a lot about our industry. I've been talking a lot about our industry and where it's come, like where the industry started, because I've been doing this for going on 12 years. So and I've been talking to people that have been doing this a lot longer than me. And a lot of people are just disappointed and kind of frustrated and tired of what this industry has become. And I was thinking recently about how you can make money in this business. As I mentioned, I've been doing this for almost 12 years, and I've kind of nailed it down to there's two ways that people are able to make money in digital marketing. The first one is that you can scam, right? You can lie to people. And this isn't just applicable to digital marketing agencies. This is applicable to digital marketing as a whole. There's essentially two ways that you can make money. So the first one, as I just mentioned, was scamming, right? You can rip people off. You can sell them the dick pills and the weight loss crap and the fake business, get rich quick schemes overnight. And there's a lot of people that do that. And they get away with it and they make a ton of money. And they never get caught. There's no consequences or no repercussions for those people. To be a scammer, you don't really need a lot, right? You need a face. You need to be able to say the right things, promise people things that will never, ever come true. And you need a credit card or a way to process credit cards. That's kind of all you need. You don't have to build a team and worry about company culture, and you definitely don't need to worry about labor laws and the difficult things like that. So that's one way, is you can scam people, right? The other way that you can make money is that you can serve people. And this is typically who my audience is. So if you're listening to this, you're probably yep, I'm a server. I want to serve people, right? Serving is way harder, though. This is the reality, is that if you want to serve people, you're going to have to be able to build a team and manage people and serve clients and make sure that you exceed their expectations, not just meet their expectations. You got to be able to exceed their expectations because you got to manage churn, right? You got to do job descriptions in the org chart and EOS meetings and all this other non-fun stuff. You got to continue to learn. You got to put yourself out there and be vulnerable and do a podcast maybe, right? If you want to serve people, it takes a lot more work. And you can make just as much money serving as you can scamming. Probably more money in the long term serving as you can scamming. Short term, maybe a little bit less. But it is possible to build a business and make a lot of money in digital marketing by serving people. It's just a lot harder, right? So as I was thinking about these two things, scamming and serving, right? Obviously, I'm on team serve. If you're on team scam, go kick yourself in the face. I don't like you. If you're on team serve, I love you. Thank you for being here. You're the reason why I do this podcast and why I show up to work every single day. Point being is that once you decide that you're on team serve, right? You already know it, but I'm just going to standardize it for you or codify it for you or whatever you want to say. You've decided that how you make your money is way more important than how much you make. And that's what drives you. If you're on team scam, all you care about is I just want the money. I don't care how I get it. I don't care who I have to screw over to get it, right? Fuck those people. Let's talk about how we want to make our money, right? But before we talk about that, like how it is beneficial to care about how you make the money as opposed to just how much you make, I want to talk about my process for realizing why this is so important to me. I have obviously seen a lot of people that scam, and particularly like the ones that come to mind are the ones that are preaching the get rich quick scheme. I don't need to say their names because I don't want them to sue me, but they're out there, right? The ones that say that I'm going to teach you how to be a digital marketer, or I'm going to teach you how to run ads, or I'm going to teach you how to do SEO. It's so easy. You just give me $5,000, buy my course, and tomorrow you're going to make internet millions. And they're very, very convincing. Their offers sound very convincing. They're driving around in Lamborghinis. They have the big house. They have all this stuff. The reality is that they're targeting people that don't have any business running a business. They're targeting people that are the Uber drivers, which I've driven Uber before, so I'm not talking shit about Uber drivers. But they're talking about, they're selling pipe dreams to people who they just don't have it. They don't have the discipline. They don't have, maybe it's the mental capacity, but they're preying on weak-minded people. And to me, they're stealing. If you can't guarantee what you say you're guaranteeing, if you can't back it up, don't do it. There's other ways to make money. Work with people who actually have a chance. That has always pissed me off, right? Because I've been flat broke multiple times. I've been flat broke multiple times. And I think about if I was that desperate, and I'm not blaming, if I bought into one of these courses, I'm not saying that I would be a victim, but like if somebody was preying on me and my insecurities and my weaknesses, and they were trying to steal my last $200, and then I should say, actually, I've had less than that, my last $16 or whatever, I would be very angry about that. I just don't like it. I personally cannot align myself with those people. And the argument that they give is that, like, if I don't get their money, then it's going to go to somebody else. So I might as well take their money because I have a shot at helping them. No, you don't. You don't have a shot at helping them. It's not going to work. I'm sorry. You're selling them something that is never going to happen. To me, ethically, that's wrong. You should never, ever do that, in my opinion. Because of these types of people, our industry is in the toilet. I don't think that trust has ever been so low in digital marketing as it is now. It's all self-inflicted because we didn't stand up and we didn't condemn these people that are ripping others off. And even in the digital marketing space, there were so many people that got into the industry after they watched a YouTube video or bought one of the courses from one of these idiots. And they go out there and they promise the world to the clients, and the clients don't know any better. They're not sophisticated. They don't know anything about technology or marketing, really. And they make all these giant promises, and then they don't deliver. And guess what? They disappear, right? So they shut down their business and they go back to doing whatever it was that they were doing. Or they start teaching others how to scam people. That's another thing they do. But let's think about the business owner. What happens to the business owner that you promised, hey, give me $6,000 and I'll turn this into $60,000. I'll turn this into $100,000 for you. And that business owner, they remember that. That's important money to them. They remember that and they say, wow, this guy Jimmy, he really ripped me off. They're all bad, right? So now anybody who's related to marketing or digital marketing, they get lumped into this pool with the scammers, and they say, you can't trust any of them. And that's basically where we're at today. Nobody trusts you guys. If you're a digital marketing expert or a digital marketing agency, I'm here to tell you nobody trusts you. It's just the way that it is. This industry has gone down the toilet, and it's up to you to figure out how to get back our good names. Right? If you're here and you're on the team serving, you got to rebuild your reputation in spite of all the people that have trashed it. And it's unfair. I get it. It's not fair. It's not the way that it should be. It's just the way that it is. So let's change gears. Now that I've kind of laid out like how I've gotten to where I'm at and like the history of what's been going on. Let's talk about this. How you make your money is more important than how much money you make. I truly believe that. In my case, it's December when I'm recording this. So this time of the year, I always start to reflect on obviously like my business for the past year, but I start to reflect on my life and the things that like the code that I live by. So one of the biggest things that happened to me, and you probably heard me if you've ever seen me speak from the stage, you've heard me talk about this before. My dad died of cancer in 2007. He died 3 days before I turned 27 years old, January 10th, 2007. He was diagnosed with liver cancer in December of 2006. And in a month, it was a little more than a month, it's like a month and a day, he was dead. Right? Turns out it wasn't liver cancer, it was actually pancreatic cancer. Now, if any of you know anything about pancreatic cancer, or you know somebody who's died of pancreatic cancer, it's one of the most aggressive and the most deadly cancers that are out there. I think it's like 99% of the people who get diagnosed, they die. If you get pancreatic cancer, most likely you are going to die. Partly because when they find it, it's already metastasized and there's no stopping it. It's usually just pain management. You take care of your affairs and you're going to die. All right. So I got to see my dad do that or die over the course of a month. It was terrible. He was a healthy guy up until then. He was only 59 years old. And so going through that experience, which completely just shattered me, I was in a dark hole for years after that. And eventually I got therapy and was able to learn how to deal with the grief. I recognized that you're not going to be here for very long. And I remember looking at my dad when he was dying, and I remember seeing the regret in his face, the things that he wished that he had done. And I started to realize the things that are truly important in this world. And do you think that he would have asked for $100 more, $1,000 more, $1 million more, $10 million, $1 billion more? No, all he cared about was more time. He just wanted more time. I just wanted more time. I would give every penny that I've ever made in business, I would give it back to have one more minute with my dad. And I think if you talk to anybody who's lost somebody tragically like this, they would tell you the exact same. It's not about the money. When you truly look at what's important, money is way down on the list. Fast forward 5 years, I volunteered for this charity that was basically like Big Brothers, Big Sisters for kids who have a parent or have lost a parent. They have a parent who's sick with cancer, or they've lost a parent who's sick to cancer. So I had gotten to a point in my grief process where I felt like I felt comfortable and I felt like I wanted to give back. And honestly, I wanted to find a way to turn my dad's death into something positive. So I got linked up with this charity. They connected me with this young man named Patrick. He was 13 at the time. His mom had been battling breast cancer for 4 years. Patrick also had a younger sister named Samantha. She was 10 at the time. So he's 13, she's 10. I'm only the mentor for Patrick. So every other week, I would drive out to downtown LA. I was living in Redondo Beach at the time. This is in California for people that don't know. So I would drive. It would take about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half if there was traffic. And me and Patrick would just hang out. Right? My job was just to be somebody who kind of understands what it's like to be him, to have somebody who's sick with cancer. And at the time, I was 33. No, I'm sorry, I was 32. It was the same year that I actually started my agency, 2012. And so I would drive out there and we'd hang out. We went ice skating. We went to the movies. We went laser tag. And it was amazing. Like, I instantly fell in love with his family. Fast forward, so we got introduced, I think it was June. Fast forward to the Monday before Thanksgiving, 2012, that same first year that I had met Patrick, and I get the call, all right, as I'm picking him up to go do whatever it was we were going to do that day. His mother's name was Georgina. Georgina looks at me and she says, I need to talk to you sometime this week, right? Actually, I'm sorry. This was a Saturday. And she said, I need to talk to you. So we made plans to talk on the Monday after. This is the Monday before Thanksgiving. And she tells me the doctors told me that I'm not responding to my latest round of chemo and that I don't have much time left. And obviously, this is very, very difficult to hear because I knew the impact that was going to have on Patrick and Samantha. So I asked her, I'm trying to keep it together on the phone. And I asked her, what do you think that we should do? Do you think that we should tell the children? And she was hesitant about it because obviously this is something that you never want to have to tell a child, let alone your own child. You never want to have to tell them that, hi, I'm going to die soon. Mom's not going to be here for much longer. So she asked me, what do I think? And I said, you know what? If you die and we don't tell the kids, I think that they will always be angry that we didn't let them know. Even though they were little kids, they're 13 and 10, I think that it would be very damaging to them if we didn't have the conversation with them. And as painful as it must have been for her to acknowledge that we needed to let the kids know about her fate, she said, you're right. We need to have this conversation with them. So Friday after Thanksgiving, they didn't have a Thanksgiving that year because Georgina was too sick. So Friday after Thanksgiving, I drove out there. Samantha, her mentor, came with as well. And we sat the kids down and we told them that what was going to happen. We told them that their mother was sick and she was going to die soon. It's the hardest conversation I've ever had to have in my life. If you're a parent, I want you to think about how difficult knowing that, but also having to tell your children that was about to happen. It's terrible. And as much as painful it was for me, I can't even imagine what it was like for Georgina and also for Patrick and Samantha. So after that, we told the children, incredibly difficult conversation to have. I remember it very, very vividly. Long story short, Georgina died a couple weeks later. It was December 9th, 2012. I remember I wasn't there. I was actually in San Francisco that day. And I always regret that I wasn't there for Patrick. I wasn't able to be there with him when it happened. And he sent me a text message when it all happened. And I called him. And, he was 13 years old. So he wasn't truly able to articulate his emotions at the time. But it's hard, man. And that reinforced to me the importance of time, that it's not about the money. It's not about how many dollars you have in your bank account, because the same thing, Georgina would have given anything, I would have given anything to give Georgina more time to be with Patrick and Samantha. And so, ever since then, and I'd had my agency for about a year when she passed away. And ever since then, I've just constantly thought about how I want to be remembered, because I've been so close to death. And I've been so close to tragic death. People that do not want to leave. I've seen what they go through. And I think about, how would I want to be remembered? I want you guys, if you're listening to this, I want you to think about that. If you got the news today that you had less than a month to live, how would you want to be remembered? How would you want the people that you love and care about, and that love and care about you, how would you want them to talk about your legacy? How would you want them to remember you? Now, you've chosen the path of being an entrepreneur, which means that you control, to a large extent, you control how you make your money. And whether you want to admit it or not, your business will be a part of your legacy. Your marketing agency will be one of the things that people remember you for. So I want you to just think about, are the things that you're doing now, are they living up to the legacy that you want to leave behind? Is the way that you're running your business serving the memory that you want others to have of you? The way that you're spending your time, right? Because I know you love to work. If you're an entrepreneur and you're like me, you love to work. It's a part of your creative expression. Working is ingrained in your DNA, right? So working, sacrificing, being at the office, all those things. But are those memories that you're creating for your business, are those going to end up being negative memories for somebody else that you love? Now, depending on if you have young children, obviously there's some things that we have to miss because we're entrepreneurs. It's just the way that it goes. You probably can't make it to everything. But are there some things that you're sacrificing for the business that you wish that you could get back? If that's the case, you still have time now, most likely. You still have time now, most likely. Why don't you live in a way and structure your business in a way, because you have the ability to do that? Why don't you structure your business in a way so that your business creates more experiences, creates more memories, and helps you to live up to the type of legacy that you want to build? You can do that. It's the end of the year, as I mentioned, and we're all thinking about what it is that we did and what do we want to do next year. You need to start thinking about this. You need to start thinking about the legacy that you're leaving behind and the way that your business contributes or detracts from that legacy. So, a very practical thing that I would do if I were you is I would just write down and I would do an inventory of what it is that you're doing now or what you've been doing over the past year, and just write down, is this something that I truly love doing? And that can mean activities, that can mean the work that you're doing, the clients that you're working with. Just do an inventory. Write it all down. And then just say, is this something that I love doing? Is this something that I value? Is this aligned with my values? Is this giving me more life? Or is this taking away from what I want to actually do? Now, the beauty of this is that now that we're going into a new year, you have the ability to change. If you don't like what you're doing now, you have the ability to change it. It's within your power. Don't ever forget that you don't have a lot of time on this earth. It goes by so fast. I'm not the first person to tell you this. You know this already, but I'm just here to remind you. You're not going to be here forever. The people that you care about, they're not going to be here forever too. It's just the way that it goes. The best thing that you have going for you as an entrepreneur is that you control what it is that you do, how often you work, how much you work, how you work. You control how you make your money. It's so much more important than how much money you have. So with that being said, thank you for listening. I hope it inspired you to think about something differently as we're wrapping up December. And if you're listening to this, I don't know when this episode's going to be launched. If it's January, if it's February, whatever month you end up finding this episode, I hope that it inspires you to think differently and to remember that how you make your money is so much more important than how much money you make. Hey, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe to the podcast and also share it with friends, family, and basically anyone you know who will find the same value in this episode as you do. So, to get the latest from me, then let's connect on social media on the Facebooks at facebook.com/Dude Agency or Instagram at dudeagency.io. Then you can also find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and even TikTok. Yes, I'm that cool. We are on TikTok. Finally, go to our website at dudeagency.io, where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. Register for live trainings on how to run a highly profitable agency, and you can see exactly how we help marketing agencies fix their operations and scale to 8 figures and beyond. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time.